Okay, guys, I'm going to run through the file I did for Meat Church. It's on Instagram now if you guys want to look at the finished product or see the cuts and pours. But today we're going to focus on the V-Carve Pro software inside Vectric. All right, so this file is complete, but and the only picture I had was this one that was taken off of a hat. So I sent this to the artist, and he gave me nice straight black lines, and that's what you see here. These are the black vectors. This is all I needed. This is a very easy logo to do. All the colors are going to overlap into the black, and that's why I picked this one, so I can show you, and it won't be too complicated for you. All right, this will be a great starting point. What you're going to do is, all these files have been done and cut, and I'll keep them over here. We'll show you how we name them and set them up, and we will also create all new layers today. And then what I'll do is in this Camtasia software, I'll speed up the parts of the video that are super redundant, hopefully, and not bore you guys to death. Okay, so over here you can see I have all the layers that I've created from the initial pocket cut that I do to pour the clear. I'll show you that. Actually, I can show you that right now. It's in purple, and it's just inside the final black layer. A lot of times I talk about going just outside to create a barrier, but with mahogany, the bleed is not a terrible thing, and I know I'm going to be okay, especially because I'm going to get clear on top that's going to soak down in enough to prevent this stuff from going. So for this file here, we're just going to do it like this. Okay, so I asked the artist to send me just the black vectors, because I knew I could go in here and select any color I wanted, like that part of the pig, and I can just overlap it. So when I'm talking about overlapping, the reason we're doing that, if you watched my earlier video, is because the V-bits, will leave wood or epoxy or something in between. So we need to overlap these vectors to be able to make it, when we make our final cut, we cut into both colors. And when we pour the black, it just goes from black to whatever color is supposed to be there, and nothing in between that. No other colors at all, no other wood, no clear epoxy, nothing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do, because when you're overlapping, you have to know how much room you're going to have. So when you click on this here, let's just pull this. Even though these lines are all relatively the same, there's a little bit more room here on the outside. That's not going to matter. And all the rest of these are pretty much the same. So let's just measure a couple of them so we can kind of see what we're dealing with, and we know how big our overlap can be and if it's going to be enough. So when sorry, I should have showed you here. So you're going to use the measuring tool here under Edit Objects. You click on that, and you just kind of bring it over to an area to kind of check some of these lines and see how much distance we have. So 0.866 is what you see up here. That's great. That's so much room. You could almost have a 0.05 overlap, and that's you'll never ever have an issue if you have that much room. So this is going to be nice, and I'm going to show you how we do this. So, and I'm going to show you why we're going to pick the number we're going to pick as well. So 0.866. If we try to do this overlap here, let's just say let's just start with this pink in the nose, even though we're really going to start with yellow. But just for right now, I'm going to do the face of the pig in this magenta, this darker, more hot pink, which is that, sorry, that's this vector right here. So we know we've got about 0.08, 5 or 0.86 of room. So when we come over here to the offset and layout area and we click on this, we're going to make sure we're selecting outwards. It'll bring it out here. And then let's set it up for 0.04 first, and I'll show you what's going to happen. Actually, I need to select one more vector to kind of show you what's going to happen. I should have not picked a single color to start with to show you. So when I do this, when I select outwards right and 0.04 and create offset corners, we're also going to want to do a layer, but I just want to show you the distance thing, and then we're going to do all these layers correct from here on out, and I'll show you all those steps. So when I hit offset, look what happens. It comes out almost all the way, and that would be okay if these were not the same color. It wouldn't matter really. But for over here, when we're doing all these yellows, you can see if we select those and we hit offset, it leaves a little line, and there's no need for that line. So watch what happens when we do a little bit bigger. 0.0, let's just go 0.05. And we'll select these again. Actually, let's get rid of those ones we did there. 0.05, offset, boom. Now we've got a solid box. So when we select all these yellow like we're going to, it's going to just form a solid bar that goes around. That later, when you select these and these outside black vectors, whoops, sorry, that would be this one and this one, and all these again, it's going to cut in through the yellow all the way through, and these yellow squares you're going to see are going to be perfect. Okay, so let's get back to, now that we know we're going to do a 0.05 and why, that's how you're going to want to set up how big your overlap goes. You're going to want to make sure that if you're doing light colors, there's no need to leave a little border in between. And it'll save you a lot of time later just by having the system just do this for you. And I'll show you exactly how that'll work. And actually, I can give you a little peek ahead. The yellows are right there. So you can see that that's how they came up. Let me select them and show you. And this just came up as a circle. So it's going to be perfect when we cut back here through with black later. It's just going to leave these little yellow pieces of pie in there that are going to look great. So you can see right here, this just came around, came up. Is it exactly in the middle? No. But this is still plenty of room. So we're going to check that too. Yep. Distance 0.025. Plenty. Plenty. You would need about half that and still not need to worry. Okay. So let's get back to going from the beginning here. Get rid of those. Okay. So let's take it from the beginning. So you've got your black vectors, and you know you're going to go around and pick color by color and create layers. And you need to do an overlap if you want it to look really, really good. Okay, so you're going to, another way this could have been done is just pour the whole thing black and come in and cut these colors into the black. That would have worked fine. But what that would have done is left those thin black rails in between some of these colors that you're cutting pocket here, or for the blue, it would have left all these little bars. And it would be fine if you run slow enough speeds, but you run the risk of cracking one of these things. And, you know, like right between here, let's say this piece of epoxy, a lot can happen. But if that cracks, now it's shit. You're not going to be happy with that. So it's better just to pour this whole thing solid epoxy, come in and cut the black last, pour the black last, and then the black is perfect through the whole thing, and you overlap into it. So now parts of this video, like I think I had mentioned, I'll go ahead and speed up in the software I'm using later, so you won't have to watch me click every one of these cells. But let's just decide we're going to go with yellow first. And so I know I need to go with all these little boxes around the outside, and then these 4 pieces of pie in the middle, and select those. So you'd come in here, hold the shift key down, and just start selecting them. Actually, I'm sorry, one more thing, because we're going to overlap. We need to create our layer first. So you go into here to your layers, add new layer, and we're going to rename it. And let's just call this yellow 2. I'll make everything a second. Actually, I'm going to go 2 yellow. We'll put the number first so I don't lose track of them. Okay, 2 yellow. So this will be the second yellow. So everything we do today, you're going to see a 2 in front of it, like I'm starting from scratch. So you can ignore all these other ones because they're already done, but we can match them up later. All right, so 2 yellow, that's going to be the layer. Let's make it a different color so it doesn't match the black. You don't get lost. And then now we've got that layer in there. So we're going to select that layer to make sure it's the active one that we're using, just like this right here. And we're going to start going around and selecting these now. So you're going to hold down the shift key and select them all. All right. Okay, so we've got all the yellow selected. I'm not going to click on this because I would lose all that. That would drive me crazy. I'm going to go ahead and under Edit Objects, use the Group Selected Objects tool, put them together. That way, if I did click over here and they go away, you just go click one of them and they all come back on. That could be very frustrating when you click that many things and spend a bunch of time, and then you touch something else you forget, and then it all goes away and you've got to start from the beginning. Okay, so we have our yellow layer selected, and we're going to do the overlap, and then we're going to see it in there. Okay, now we know on these we're going to want to overlap 0.05 to have everything kind of come together nice for us. Actually, we can go 0.048, I think is going to be even better. That'll keep it a little more true and centered. So we go here, 0.048, offset. All right, so since we had this layer selected as active, once we did our overlap, these fell right into this layer. If we turn them off, they're gone. Turn it back on, there they are. This is gone. You've only got this, which will be important when we do our first color. You know what? I don't have the yellow layers on here. I was messing with something earlier and I deleted them. So we'll actually run these. That's what I was going to do, is just kind of run them with you. I'm glad this happened here because I wanted to show you. If I would have done a 0.05, this wouldn't have happened. So, but I want to show you like how to manually fix this. If this happens to you a little bit, it's not worth redoing the whole file to this is pretty easy to fix. So let me show you what you would do here. So you'd select the vectors under Edit Objects, click on the Node Editing tool, and you'll see those will come together there. And let's turn on the black vectors just so we can kind of see what we have to play with as far as size. You can see there's no danger. When we were first looking at this, even me, I didn't mean to do this, so this was kind of a little surprise for me. And when I was zoomed in like this, I was like, if I pull this all the way here, am I coming past the black? Well, no, we're not even close to coming past the black. We've got so much room to work with in here. This is like heaven. So don't worry that this is now kind of wonky and from going over here to over here. That's microscopic. Okay, so I'm going to select this node and just hit the delete key. And now what happened is it got rid of that, and it just comes through as a nice even line. And the other thing we're going to want to do that I'm going to show you now is we're going to go through, and all these vectors, when they're black like this in the node editing, if I select one of them and hit S for smooth, there we go. Okay, so you can see like these are smooth vectors now. So the bit will come by and just pass. It's not going to stop there and do a little, and cut, and it'll take forever for this to cut. And here's where this would get important. So we can just see if we can just delete this. Sometimes it does not want to go away, and that's something I've never even taken the time to figure out. I'm sure there's a quick way. Okay, so what we'll do now is we're going to select all these vectors. We're going to turn off the black. Okay, we're going to select all these vectors. And then I'm going to unselect the corners. First, I'm going to show you what will happen if you don't do it that way. And then I'll show you the trick for just making this a little bit quicker, at least the trick I use. Remember that, I don't even understand the software that great. I just know this system that I come up with. So that's what I'm good at. All right, so we're going to select all of those nodes, and we're just going to hit S for smooth on the keyboard. Okay, everything changed. Now look what happened here on the bottom. When I bring the black back in, okay, we went outside. So these are an easy fix just by grabbing these. By grabbing these here, we can bend this yellow line back inside where we know it's in the safe zone. So that one's okay. Here, it's going to be easier just to show you what I was going to do. These only had a point on top, but if it would have had a point here as well, this wouldn't have happened. So let me show you. Let me go back. There we go. Before we did the node editing, or before we did the smooth, I'm going to go ahead and add a point here around near the corner. And I'm going to add one right here near the corner. Don't worry about exactly where. This is just to make those things go a little smoother. This one has 3 already. Okay. Let's just check up here in this last little peek and see what everything is up here. All right, great. We're good. I'm going to add another point. I'm going to add another point here. This is going to keep us from having that thing go crazy. Okay. And we're going to do one more step here when this is done, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So when we select these, all these yellow vectors, and then I'm going to, you don't even have to turn off the black. You just click here and just kind of drag over the whole thing, select all the nodes. I'm sure there's a key, select all. You could have just done that a lot quicker. Just go ahead and hit smooth. And let's just kind of check and see what happened here. There's a few that you're going to notice. You're going to have to go around and twist these arms to kind of get them to cut nice. And we missed an area here, but we can, I'm pretty sure, manually fix this. Yep, we did. And does that mean there's one over here? Yep. We should have put another point just inside this to make it smooth. Okay. This one we have to adjust a little bit. And we're going to adjust this one as well. Okay. So now we can see that, like what we did, everything is inside the black line, so we're safe. So a lot of this stuff here, you can go around and edit, but you're not going to really need to worry about it. This thing's just going to cut. It's going to cut smooth, and these are all inside the zone, whether it's here or here or here. It's not going to matter later. Okay. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and insert back in, which would have been paths 3 and 4. I should when I pulled out yellow so I could show you this, I should have just left them all numbered how they did. I don't know why I went back and redid that, but we're going to go ahead and run these. Sorry, I'm going to go back to edit objects, click the pointer on there, select these vectors, turn off black. And then we're going to go to V-Carve, okay? So over here under Toolpath Operations, you're going to click on V-Carve. It's going to bring up the bits I use the most are going to be 15 degree and an 1/8 inch end mill. Okay, so we're going to go 0.125 deep, and we're going to use the V-bit and the 1/8 inch end mill. We're going to name this. I always label mine based on the path that'll be run, and it's end mill goes before V-Carve in my numbering system, but I run them opposite. I always run my V-Carve bit before I run my clearing path. That's up to you to do it how you want to do it. That's just what I do. Okay, we'll go MC for Meat Church, and then we'll put 15 at the end, so that lets me know that's the bit. When I hit calculate, that will come up. Rename this back to a 1 and change this to an 8 for the 1/8 inch bit, and that's the system I use for numbering these. So since 1 and 2 were actually a clearing path, this would have been 3 and 4, that would have been 4 and 5, and then so on. So we're going to just go ahead and leave them numbered like this with the new system, and I'll renumber all these as I make them. I'll redo them. Okay. So we come over here and click on the Preview Toolpath button. That will be this button right here. when you're inside Toolpaths, just below the, a few below the V-Carve. Click this, you've got them selected, preview visible toolpaths, and you can see it's going to cut in there, so you can pour your yellow first. That'll be the first step. I'm sorry, that'll be the first color. So you can see you can pour your yellow first. Yellow will be the first color you pour. The clearing path is going to be the first actual pour that you do. You're going to do that clear. So let's go back and I can show you how I set that one up as well. Okay. So let's turn the black back on. We'll turn the yellow off that we just made. And all I did here was just create a line just inside the black. You can go outside if you want or inside. Outside is usually safer because it'll create, you know, if I cut this clear to here and then come in and cut this, it'd be just a, you know, 1/100th off of each other. So you'll never notice that there's clear there. It'll look black because we're going to pour this black. But for this project, I just brought it inside. Mahogany, I don't worry about bleed too much in mahogany or walnut or anything like that. It's maple and cherry where I make sure I clear coat, and I just offset off of the outside black vector to pull this in here for the first cut for clear. And I would just right click on that, move to layer, and that would have been the first clear cut one that we see right there. So that's actually the first one that gets cut. We pour the whole thing clear, then we came back in and we're cutting into the clear epoxy for the yellow and all the rest of the colors. My Instagram video will show this step by step as well, and I'm going to add that at the end of this presentation. If you want to jump ahead and go look at it at any point, you totally can. Most likely, Rob Sandstrom has showed me how to put stuff inside this video to where you guys can click it and it'll take you right to that spot. So most likely you can just look right now on the YouTube video down at the bottom and click one of those times and go there if you want. It'll be labeled as well. And then we have to choose, then we have to start choosing color by color, like, hey, what are we going to do next? So you can see in the original, I went yellow first, then I went blue. And remember, we cut, on the first cut, I cut, it's not showing, there we go. On the first cut, what I had to add was, I selected this, and I copy it to first clear cut layer. That's actually what I did when I ran this. So if I turn off the blue now, you're going to see that all this will get cut. That way I have a chance to pre-coat my letters before I get to my second color, which would be blue after we do yellow. And then I wouldn't pour this yet. I would just, you'll see in the video too, I kind of taped off Meat Church to pour the yellow, so none of it spilled into here. And then on my second cut, I did blue, and then I just poured this with these top pieces of blue at the same time. Those all got poured at the same time. I think I took that out of my video because I didn't realize down below my table there was a box with a huge penis on it drawn. So I actually pulled that little clip out of the video. Maybe for this YouTube one, I'll go ahead and leave it in there because it doesn't bother me, but I know some people get weird about penises, I guess. Okay, so we've got our first clear cut. The letters in here, we've done our yellow, and now we're going to go on to our next color. So we're going to look on here. We're just going to follow the same direction I did before. We're going to have to figure out, okay, we need all the blue vectors now. We need to overlap those. So we just kind of look at the photo here, and we start selecting the black vector that we have, the original black vector, and we go around, hold the shift key, and select all the ones that are going to be blue. Okay, we can see down here behind the tail. And then also just inside between the tail and the pig's leg, that is also blue. Okay, and then the other thing is the Meat Church, the letters. If you wanted to recut those, you could because you've already soaked them in clear. I didn't do that, so I'm going to unselect them, but that is an option if you want to. If you wanted to just kind of clear coat, maybe you poured too much clear coat, maybe it kind of bunched up in these corners. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to cut this and you might not need to. I didn't need to. I put a very light coat and was satisfied that with mahogany it wasn't going to bleed too much. But you could just recut this again. If you poured too much clear and you were afraid that if you kind of bunched up these corners, your color wouldn't show through. So don't forget, you get the option here. We're not going to do it, but you totally have the option here. Let's turn off this clear cut. Okay, so here's our blue, and I've done something, and I need to select these again. Okay, great. Now we'll do the same process. We're going to go ahead and overlap. Okay, but let's make a let's join these together so we don't lose track of them when I'm going to do what I'm going to do here. And we're going to create a new layer. We're going to call this, rename, we're going to call it 2 blue. Okay, and we'll go ahead and make these vectors blue, and it's already selected, so it is active. That's what we want, because we're about to do the overlap on those vectors right now. We want that to be that way. Okay, so when I do the overlap here, I'm actually going to go to a 5 offset, and there we go. So you can see there's still going to be some cleanup in here, and I have never really figured out exactly how to do this quicker than I'm going to show you. I'm sure there's ways, and honestly, if you wanted to tell me, that's great, but I hardly have time to even watch YouTube instructional videos for stuff I really need to learn, so I most likely won't even pay attention or see anything about this. I'll just keep spending the extra time, and doing this probably the wrong way. But you just kind of go around and just select a few of those ones that get kind of crazy. And here's where we're going to have some issues. Let me just kind of show you a little bit of an example here. When I select these and make them smooth, oh, well, it's not too bad at all. This is actually fine. I thought we were going to have bigger issues than that. So let's just select them all and see what we get. Oh, I know what we'll get here. We're going to insert points just like we did before around these corners. So you're going to go to all the corners and add a point just so you don't get those huge swings coming out. Okay, here and here. Oops. Take that one back and move it over to this side where it was supposed to be. What the hell are you doing, Shane? There we go. Move this one in. Don't think we would need it here, but we're going to add it just to be safe. All right. We've got it there on that. Up there. Don't know why. Okay, I think we're going to be good here, guys. Okay, so look what this did here. Since we were already kind of cut and poured the yellow, it put another vector close to on top of what we had. Actually came past a little bit. Doesn't matter. These are both still inside the black. Doesn't matter how this worked out. None of this matters. Don't worry about any of this. This all gets cleaned up at the very last path when you cut your black in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and one more. All right, let's turn off yellow. Turn off black for now. Select the node editing tool and just hit, oh, sorry, you gotta select it. Select them and select again. Hit smooth. And then how we're gonna check this? We're gonna check this by going in and opening up the black vectors just to see if everything falls inside. And you can just make adjustments here as needed if you want to. Let's do this. Okay, let's do one more color here. It'll actually be 2. I'll show you what I mean. We'll go ahead and hide blue. And a couple that we can do at the same time. It's going to be the green and the maroon. The reason you could do these together is because they're far enough apart where you don't have to worry about that bleeding in there most likely. You could even use a little bit of tape, pour this, and then a little while later pour that. Or you can just go through step by step and just do these one at a time. You don't have to try to rush and put this stuff together this way. I think what I actually used wasn't even the duck. It was the little face on the pig here. There we go. We're going to go ahead and do these two, and I'll show you how to do those two. So let's turn off those two. Go back into our original vectors that we're starting with. Okay, so we've cut the clear path, we've cut our yellow, we've cut our blue. All right, next, you get to choose what you want to do next. It doesn't matter what color you'd pick next. For this video, and I think what I had done, I'd have to actually look at my video to see if this is the correct order. I don't remember, because it doesn't matter. Like, this part just does not matter. You pick what color you want to pick, do them one by one, put them together if you want. All right, so we're going to click that pig's face, and we're going to click all the green. That is not green. That's green. That's green. I think this, and I'm pretty sure this one. No, I was wrong. I was blue. Okay, so let's just check this. Let me go ahead and edit these together. I'm sorry, join these together, and we'll check over here to see if I have it right. 1, 2, between the legs. There. Okay. Let's take a look and see if that's selected. It did. Okay, so this is all our green, and this is our pink. You do not need to leave these joined if you don't want to. I just messed up because I was working while this one was active, and I did something, so now those joined. Now I just backed it out. So we're going to do this again. We're going to add a new layer. We're going to call this green 2. Actually, we'll call it green and dark pink. So we don't even have to put a 2 because that's going to be different. So if you didn't want to like make these all separate layers, you can label them by their original color, or you can combine them together and make, you can still pick this as green if you want, and just know that, when you go to pour this face, you're not going to pour that face green. You're going to need to pour it like the color of the logo that you want to do. All right, but this is just another way to kind of show you different ways around this stuff. Okay, so we come over here, and we've got those selected, and this is an active vector for us. So we're going to go to, what am I going to do? We're not going to cut anything yet. That would be terrible. We're going to overlap. All right. Outwards, 5. We're selected in this vector, so those things are going to jump right into this new vector we created. Continue anyway. And then now we're going to run and check. So right here, we've got an issue. You can just insert points here, guys, because we're going to make them smooth in a minute. So remember, we're going to go around here. I know this is tedious. I know there's probably better ways. You do not have to follow what I do. Not at all. I'm just showing you how I do it, so you guys have the option. I'm sure most of you are much smarter than me, so you will figure out a much faster, simpler way, and you guys can laugh about how that bald idiot does it. But invite me to that party, because I am actually cool with roasting, and I do not mind being made fun of. I've mentioned before, you guys have probably heard, I talk, like an epoxy god, and I talk a lot of shit on Instagram. It's a lot of fun. But I love sharing this information. I love all the people who are doing this stuff and asking for help. And there's plenty of room for all of us in this market. I can tell you that for sure. Remember, a long time ago, there was somebody who did the first wood inlay. And I'm sure if that guy would have been a real big asshole and never shared his information, someone would have figured it out, but it might have taken longer. I think there's a lot of room in the pool for all of us, and we can all fit. There's plenty of work out here, believe me. If you guys need some jobs, I've got a list of them that I can't even get to, so call me up. Maybe I subcontract some stuff out. All right. Insert the point there. We're going to go around and just do all these. I know this is taking a long time. Most of you probably skip forward. delete them. That's another way. So I can move them in. I can just highlight and delete them. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat. Okay, we're gonna wanna. That will probably be okay, but let's just take a look and see. I think these will come out all right. Put another one here, and this will be interesting, but it's fun too. So let's do this. Let's turn off blue. Let's turn off black. Let's select them again, and we're just going to hit the smooth key, and let's see what comes up. I saw a couple areas that look like they bulked, but we'll see how bad it was. That's nice, but I'd still like to. Okay, now there's a reason this won't let me do this. Do I know why? Wish I could tell you why, guys, but I don't know. Which means I can't tell you, so you either know and need to tell me, or you don't know either. We're both in the same boat. Yeah, not sure why that won't turn. Becky at Vectric, if you're listening and you want to share a note, I'd love to know why sometimes this do this. I'd also love to know why sometimes when I go to delete a vector, you know, I select it and I hit the D key, delete. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't let me. I don't know why. Sometimes it's because one of them is green. I don't know what even that means. So you guys are probably really glad you tuned in. Okay, these are all good. All right. Yeah. So on this right here, I'm going to select these, and actually let me do that one more time and select the, I don't know what those long arms that kind of edit that thing are called, but I'm going to just bring that in a little bit more, just to kind of get it away from this edge here, just to make sure it would cut properly. And this isn't even going to be cut. I don't need to, I didn't actually need to do that, but I wanted to show you what I would do if I was setting this up, just so you'd know. Okay, here we go. Let's fix this. All right. Okay, guys, let's see here. So let's go ahead and cut this. Turn off black. Go back to the edit objects, to the selection mode tool. Go to V-Carve. And we'll call this green, but remember, we're going to pour that magenta face at the same time. So you can put that in the note down here behind the name, however you decide you want it to name this, or you don't need to. But we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Just go with continue with 6, Meet Church 15, green, and dark pink. Calculate. All right, we're going to rename this one the 5th path, but we are going to run it 6th. That's confusing, and I probably shouldn't have ever done it that way, but that's how I started doing it, and I just won't change, so that's that. All right, so there they are. Let's reset the preview. And you can see there's a lot of room there for you able to pour your green and then pour your pig. Okay, so let's skip ahead now to the black. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stuff that we've made. Go back to here. And now I'm going to turn on all my original layers, okay? So let's show all, except for the new crap. There we go. Okay, so we'll leave the bitmap layer open so we can kind of zoom back and forth here and kind of look. There's all my original layers. You can see that my orange kind of overlapped with that maroon duck, in and out, every which way. It wasn't perfect, but the one thing that is perfect is at the end when I cut the black, I did like a 15 or 20 second video kind of zooming around and kind of showing you guys that you can see this color here, which would have been orange for the cow, and this color here, which would have been burgundy for the duck. When you look inside here in this black opening, you can see just beautiful orange right here and really nice burgundy right here, and there is no other thing in between them. So when I pour the black in there and we flatten, we know we don't have to worry, okay? let's go ahead and I want to give you guys a few looks at this, as you can kind of see. There's the original blue vector. There's the orange, so it would have cut from here all the way around the cow. What happened there? Why did that go away? Oh, because they're separate boxes, that's why. Yeah, because the duck head, there was no orange in between here. On the logo itself, there's just maroon to black, which has been sharpened up by the artist, Jorge, thankfully. So yeah, there's all your orange. Okay, so if we hide all, and just select our original black vectors, and we've got all of our other colors poured. I'll put up a photo right now of what that looks like before I cut black, and then after I cut black, I will just introduce that right in here to the video for you guys so you can see it. I think this will be better than a photo. Just kind of go around here for a couple seconds and just kind of show you how we have, you know, perfect color to color once we pour black in between there. No overlapping or having to worry about anything. Just came out really nice. Okay, so we're going to select all these, and we're going to go over to V-Carve. Now, let me show you one other thing. You'd figure this out really quickly, but I'm going to leave this 1/8 inch bit. I don't think there's any spot in here at all when we cut black where this thing will fit. And when I go to calculate, let's just call it 13 meet church. I'm sorry, 14, because I did wind up with only 13 that I actually numbered. But that's because I ran yellow separately and then took it away because I planned on doing a video for this. Anyway, 14 meet church 15. We hit calculate. It's going to let us know, hey, continue anyway. There's one little spot. So if it's good, I'm actually glad that came up, because okay, there's a few more than one little spot. If you feel like you want to change a tool and put on a 1/8 inch end mill to cut these 5 little areas here, that is totally cool. You can totally do that. I didn't even know this would happen. I assumed that there was no area it would fit. But now that I'm thinking about it, if we go into here and put on that bitmap layer, there are some areas of that black that it gets pretty thick. And this is where we're talking. Probably here and here is where it hit. Maybe here. This leg area or over here maybe. That bit, you know, just barely fit in there because there was a lot of room for the black in there. And that's, oh, here, this will be a little quicker. Okay, yeah. So there's one right there. I see, yeah, here's another one right here. So it's just going to come down and barely touch. I just ran this with a 15-degree bit through the whole thing and actually left and had a party with the family for a graduation party for my niece, and then came back and it was done. So it would have only been a 20-second run to cut all those little spots, and that would have been fine. Then just change the tool and you're good to go. So either way you wanted to do that, it's going to be fine. Let me just delete this. Sorry, there we go. Delete all visible. If you ever wanted to go back and redo something, that's all you want to do. And if you do make a huge mistake where you deleted something you didn't want to, just Control Z, guys. Believe me, I've had heart attacks not knowing about Control Z and thinking I was never going to get it back. And then thankfully, Rob Sandstrom let me know that, you know, well, he's very polite too. He's a good Christian guy. Shane, you freaking idiot. You know, and he tells me really nicely like that I can just go do this or do that. Okay, so let's select them again. And we're going to run it with just by unselecting this end mill and just running it with a 15-degree V-bit. You would name this whatever you want. This file actually would have been 15. Meet church. Yeah, actually it would be 15. Meet church 15, which would throw me off. And then You could put here black, final, whatever you want to do, whatever, how you want to do it. Hit calculate, continue. I'm sure there's something to that warning that pops up, but I've never found out what isn't cutting correctly. I think it's so minute that I've just never been able to spot it. So let's go ahead and preview visible toolpath. And you can see there, it's going to cut all those black lines. And I'll pull up that video now and kind of show you how that looks cut and how you can see colors on this side that are supposed to be there green, and this side yellow, and in here orange, and even up here on the back of the pig you can kind of see you know, the blue where it goes from orange to blue to orange, which, you know, caught my eye at first. I thought, oh, is there a mistake there? No, then I looked at the logo and thought, okay, there is not supposed to be anything in between it. It goes straight from pink to black to blue, and that's able to do that by pouring black in between. What you see here is pink and blue. It's going to be perfect. All right, I'll show you that video now. Okay, guys, I think that's going to cover it. I hope I didn't miss anything. I'm going to be doing more of these. In fact, I've got a presentation coming up for Vectric soon in September, and I'm just now starting to put together stuff. I'm about a month and a half behind on poor Becky over there at Vectric. I am way behind getting Becky her stuff, so I'm going to actually pull the, I'm going to do the same thing, the Camtasia screen record. I'm going to pull the files from the internet that I'm going to do it for that presentation, and then just start videoing everything and keeping the whole process together. So there'll be another even more detailed video coming soon. I don't want to say how soon because I know everyone gets upset when I keep saying I'm going to post some stuff and then it's months before I do. But I can tell you that it'll for sure be ready by September when I do this presentation. So hopefully before then. And I probably won't even post it until after I do that presentation, because it's going to be for that presentation, and we're going to go ahead and give away the 2 projects that I make as a raffle or something like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, guys. So thank you for watching this. Please like it and subscribe it and all the other stuff that YouTube people tell you you're supposed to do at the end of their videos. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.